Okay, the real reason that we are actually here, let's meet our Hall of Fame inductees, and here's a short video introducing our first inductee.
Ron Finch has been building custom motorcycles since 1965. He opened Finch's Custom Style Cycles in a small building in Pontiac, Michigan. For over 45 years, his professional career has been devoted to designing, building, and painting custom motorcycles in his own unique style. His first nationally known custom was a 1966 BSA named Kaleidocycle, which prompted Ed Roth to headline him as Michigan's motorcycle madman. In 1968, only 3 years after opening his shop, Ron married Ruth, and together they built the business. He taught Ruth to ride and built her a custom 1966 Triumph, which was painted orange with white pearl and named after her favorite treat, a creamsicle. Ron and Ruth were partners in another venture, the raising of their 4 children. Family life was very important to them, proving to be both challenging and fulfilling. The business was growing in the early 1970s, and it was time to move to a new facility. Ron used his unlimited imagination to create a unique place where he could serve his customers. It was from this location that Ron and his crew worked for almost 30 years, building, painting, repairing, and selling parts and accessories. He used his love of metal to add sculptures to the architecture, and even created handmade showcases. The career of Ron Finch was interrupted in 1981 when he was hit from behind by a drunk driver, who left him and his motorcycle on the side of the road. He spent 6 long weeks in the hospital in traction and was told that he would never walk again. His crew came in and installed wheels, a gas tank, handlebars, and a headlight on his hospital bed so Ron could keep riding. Throughout the years, Ron built some amazing customs for his own personal use. In the late 1970s, he built a Triumph Trident 3-wheeler named Trilogy. Later that decade, Ron built his first bagger. He called it Loophole because the exhaust pipes artistically looped through the frame above the engine. In the spring of 2001, Home Depot finally made the Finch family an offer that they could not refuse. They sold their property and moved into semi-retirement. In the Finch studio, Ron began a new endeavor called Metal Life that allows him to bring metal to life, making creatures and plants using found metal. Finch Motorcycles has been featured in hundreds of magazines, at museums, galleries, and shows in the United States, as well as Germany, France, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Finch's Custom Cycles has been a joint venture for Ron and Ruth for over 45 years. Ron and Ruth reached a milestone in their partnership in July 2018 when they celebrated their 50th anniversary at the studio with family and friends. Finch's custom motorcycles of many makes and sizes have been appreciated by art lovers in prestigious museums, art galleries, and in shows throughout the US and in Germany, France, and Sweden. Ron celebrated his 80th birthday in March 2019 and continues to work from the studio, painting and building custom motorcycles and art. Labeled as too extreme by some, the work of Ron Finch appropriately proclaims the freedom and individualism that is so often associated with the motorcycle lifestyle. The Sturgis Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame is proud to welcome Ron Finch as an inductee into the class of 2019.
Getting up here on stage, we'll give them a little bit more love. We are now really rad. We look up to your work. Thank you so much. Now to say a few words about our first inductee, Ron. Please welcome to the stage, Sugar Bear.
Hello. The other day, I got a phone call from the boys. And if you know Ron Finch, you know he has a very extremely distinctive voice. Answer phone, there's Sugar Bear. I had someone in the car with me when he called, and he says, I know that voice, I know that voice. I said, everybody knows that voice, that knows him. And he asked me if I would introduce him. And it's quite an honor to do that. Ron and I go back probably before maybe a third of the people in the audience were born. I met Ron in, I think it was 72, 73, something like that. And we've been friends ever since. It's hard to describe Ron, but I'm glad they showed the pictures, because for me to stand up here and try to describe to you what he does and how he does it and what it looks like is almost impossible. He's a genius. He's an artist. And I think, thirdly, he's a motorcycle builder, to be honest, because there's so much art and so much of him in everything that he builds. And interestingly enough, about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, we were talking, and we were talking with Arlen, who was also a friend, you know, the three of us, and we found that all three of us were born the same year. And we called ourselves the 39ers. This year we had wanted to do something with the three of us, but of course what happened with Arlen, we were unable to do that. But Ron wanted everyone here to know, and make sure that you know, that we were planning to do something together, because the three of us, even though we're on different paths in the industry, we each went our separate ways, our different ways, I guess you'd say. Our styles are different, but our passion and our love of motorcycles is the same. And I would like to introduce to you my very good friend, Ron. Come up and give us a dance.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sugar Bear for my nominee. And a very important part of my life has been my wife, Ruth. We've been married 51 years. And you know, she's been with me by my side. She does all the cooking. If anybody's at the studio or whatever, you know, we're having lunch, you can have lunch with us. She takes care of the bookkeeping, arranges the different events that I go on. First bike that I ever had, which was on the film there, was quite a cycle. And believe it or not, that was 50 years ago. I don't know where the time goes. I mean, it's just gone. And what gave me a lot of recognition was going to bike shows and museums and so on and so forth, and different events. And it's, you know, it's just been my life, and I really don't know much else other than motorcycles. So I'm going to keep on doing it. And when you're building a motorcycle, as you know, everything's got to line up perfectly. The chain, the engine, you know, wheels, everything. And so, which I've always had a lot of freedom building my bikes, but now that I'm doing art, you got more freedom, because you don't have to worry about if everything lines up, if it's, you know, a little crooked or whatever, it's okay. And I've always had that freedom to do what I love for 80 years. And it's a thing where sometimes people call me a little bit of a rebel. Stop signs and speed limits and one-way streets. That's just a suggestion, you know. And it's just a gift that I got, you know. Every now and then I know how to sneak in the back door or something, you know. And it's just a gift that I was given by God. And the journey's been great, you know. And I think the journey's going to continue to be great. And I can't wait to get out that door and go for a ride.
In this style for many, many, many years.